Hi YouTube, what's up everybody? This is Gaming Guy back with another Arena video. This one's going to be a bit different. It's just kind of my thoughts and an honest critique of the state of Arena. So right off the bat, I'd probably give it about a 4 to 5 out of 10. Just so you know where I'm coming from. I'm not going to be super positive, drinking the Blizzard Kool-Aid, afraid to speak my mind, but I'm also not going to be like expecting kind of impossibilities of like I always win and it never feels like it's like there's RNG involved. I understand that. So I do think there are certain low-hanging fruit things that can be done that has been implemented in the past that they could just do that they're just missing. So what are those things, and how can it be better? Well, let's get into it. So the first thing that I think that they really did very well in previous iterations of Arena that they kind of went away from for whatever reason is just the bucket and drafting system. It's just not interesting anymore. So we've kind of solved a lot of things like in with knowledge and data about how to optimally play. That's going to happen over time, but the bucket system, is fine, but there's way too many times, so you get, just in case you don't know, you get 30 cards that you're going to pick with 3 choices per pick. So that's 90 overall cards that you pick 30 of, 1 and 3 each time. Just the basics. I think most people know that, but just in case you didn't. I would say there's, in 20 of those 30 choices, it's like, there's not even close. You have 2 cards that are like a piece of crap. You have like a Wisp from back in the day, like a 1/1, and then you have like a legendary that's amazing, or you have like a Huddle Up or something, and then you have like another freaking Wisp or something. That's never really a real bucket, but there's 2 really bad cards and only 1 good playable card, and that's happens in over half of the picks, and that just is so uninteresting. It just makes your choices and your draft skill like not really matter that much because it's kind of too standardized. So just not having interesting and unique drafting experiences really makes the experience more generic, and that leads into the second problem with Arena that I have. So my second main problem with Arena is there is too many cards that are too powerful versus too many cards that are like not very powerful in the same like 6 to 7 packs that we rotate. So what ends up happening inevitably is people just want to play with the good cards and they want to avoid playing with the bad cards, obviously. So essentially your games end up feeling very similar, and you play against the same cards, and you want to play the same classes of like being whatever's top tier you play and whatever's bottom tier you avoid playing. So it makes it very, not as fun as it used to be. So it like back in the past, if you were at like 2-2, there is a very good chance that your game experience is going to be wildly different than your experience at 8-2. So I have 2 clips, and one is that I saved, and one is from a 3-2 game where I was the warrior, and I'll play that clip for you now. Looking like we're in decent shape now. If the drones are flying over your house with your wife inside, would you push the Gatling button to shoot them down? Maybe? Because like the Gatling gun's pretty accurate.
But the size of the drones, like it depends on like the technology and my understanding of it. If they're obliterating the material so she's more likely to be safe, then yes. If I think she's gonna get hurt, then no. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So in this clip, you see that we're 3-2. He has tide pools. He RNG's star power, and we have a massive lead on board. And he ends up, you know, discovering all the powerful tools that he needs to deal with what we're doing and like stabilize. Which in and of itself, okay, that happens. It's Hearthstone. He ends up also RNGing like some other crazy weapon, where that's a 10/10 and you get 8 armor when you use it. Somebody knows the name of it. Like I took a 3-year break, so I'm not great with naming cards. So sorry, but essentially that weapon RNG that he got off of some mech legendary, and like a couple minutes later in the game, we ended up losing. And sometimes you're gonna go 2-3, 4-3. Whatever in 3 in arena, like or not even, or go 12 because you didn't even lose 3 times. I like that. That's fine. The point that I'm making is that same game. If I blurred out the wins in the bottom left, you might have thought it was a 8-2 game or a 9-1 game. It's like the same exact experience with the same power level of cards at any win-loss is possible, and is not only possible, it's probable and common. That's an issue, because with the reward structure the way that it is, it feels really, really bad to not win at least 5 games, and okay to pretty great when you win 7-12. Well, very good at like 11 and 12. Like the rewards go up another tier. I feel like they used to be better, but whatever. So with that polarizing effect and feeling, when you have to play a class like Warrior that's in the bottom half of those classes that you try to avoid because they have like a 40 to 45% win rate, so you should avoid them unless you just you're feeling super lucky, or you have some really good hidden strategy, like you're some type of arena master. Yeah, it just makes it a polarizing experience, a very frustrating experience, and a very fun sucking experience in arena. And you know, we all play video games to have fun, and that isn't very fun. So that's obviously a major issue, and that is a big problem. So this leads me to my clip number 2, where I believe I'm 8-2, and it's Mage v Mage. I picked Mage because Mage is best, and so did my opponent in arena right now. And my opponent plays cards that are not even as powerful as my opponent did at 3-2. And granted, yes, this is like gonna happen from time to time, but now it's kind of standardized that this happens all the time. So in the past, what was funner was when like your back's against the wall and you're 2-2, and you had like maybe not the luckiest draft, you'd play somebody that also that had that experience. So you could maybe scratch your way and claw your way and feel pretty confident that you had a decent chance of winning 5 games if you're a good player. That was part of the fun. And then you would try to maximize the crap, essentially. Now, if you have the lower tier, it's like hopeless. It doesn't even really matter what your opponents do. Their cards are just like power creep is like 2 to 3 times better than your cards. It doesn't matter. Like, they're gonna win. So, especially with discovering more cards. Mage can play with 60 cards, and then you're a warrior, you get to play with 30. 60 beats 30, you know, even if you throw away 15 of the extra cards. Like, so that's also not a pleasant experience. So here is the clip 2 example. Composition.
Oh, now my Draenei won't draw anything. That's great.
my problem.
Don't forget to hit the button. Like and subscribe on YouTube and follow on Twitch.
I'm ready.
I think this is a good turn to get my forges off.
Fireworks?
Wow,
Sure
fuck.
hope they do.
Okay, at least he only casted one.
Can you feel the gift?
Yeah, that's not bad. That's bad though. Jeez.
So because that was more of like a less ridiculous game of Hearthstone, we were able to close that one out and win that game, and then further win another game, I believe. Before I think we went 10-3. But the point I'm making is I would like different types of experiences and different feeling games. And how do you do that? Basically, you make more of an even overall type of power structure and offering structure for decks. So we have the data from like HS Replay that good players have rated the power level of cards in Arena. So if they just access that free data that's readily available and implement it to their bucket offerings, we could have like an overall more equal footing playing field of our drafts, and then that could make more cards playable. Because if you limit to like maybe 5 really powerful to 7 really powerful cards per deck, like, unless somebody gets really lucky, maybe they get 10, and then that makes the other cards that nobody plays then playable. Then you're going to have different games and unique games, and it'll be a different experience, and it'll probably make more of the classes playable. So I really think it ties back to the drafting issue and the bucket issue being too standardized and not even really worked on. And the only tweaks they come back with is they just kind of nerf one class into oblivion every so often when they feel a bit too ridiculous. So they just did that with Death Knight. So hopefully they actually care in the future, and this is really easy adjustments. It's taking the same tool base and toolkit you already have built and just doing minor tweaks for major impactful differences. So what's the point of having 6 decks if one of the decks is from 7 years ago and not a single card anybody ever wants to play with, and they're just mad when they have to play with it because that's up against a card from this current expansion where a 2-mana 5/5 is playing a 2-mana 1/1. It's just that's an analogy. So just power creep wise, that's basically what's going on, and that's not really a fun experience. So that's the main nuts and bolts of what's wrong and what can be fixed. It's everybody's playing with the same cards, and it almost feels like Arena now to me feels like Standard did in 2017. It's you're playing the same matchups, and you know that they're going to basically have probably 25 out of 30 cards every time. You get a hunter, he's going to have these 20 cards. He always has these 20 cards. Mage, 28 of 30 cards he's going to have. You know what I mean? Death Knight, 25. And regardless of your win-loss ratio, you just hope that you see certain classes like Mage and Death Knight a little bit less. And then also your game RNG is a little bit better. So because of that, and then the RNG cards being allowed to discover game-winning cards, I have an issue with. Like Ceaseless Expanse, I don't think belongs in Arena. Period. If you could limit what is discovered, and just eliminate some cards that are ridiculously powerful that kind of just win the game instantly. If you just kind of remove that and you have it being momentum swinging instead of game winning, with ridiculousness that's meant for standard, because standard decks are like way faster and stronger because you build them and you're only going to use the good cards. Yeah, I think then the fun experience would be more consistent. Like typically, like I enjoy the game regardless. Typically, it'll be like in a 10-hour multi-session, 10 hours of gameplay. I feel like maybe 6, maybe 7's pretty damn good, decently fun. Like maybe like 3 or 4 if that's like really good. You know, when you're hitting the things you want to hit and winning. And then like 2 or 3 of the hours, you just want to uninstall the game. Like you just get like, especially me, I'm prone to be a little grumpy when things aren't going my way. Yeah, like I don't think that polarization is great, and I just feel like if things were a little more balanced, it wouldn't feel that way, and it would just be most of the time it would just be pretty good fun, which is kind of how I felt about Arena in the past. Even when I would go like 2 and 3, I'd be a little bit frustrated with going 2 and 3, but I'd be like, okay, this next one, that's a rarity. Not like, and there's things maybe I need to look at what I did because there's probably a solution to where I could have edged out 5 and I just missed it. Now it just feels like, oh, there was really nothing I could do. My opponents did some crazy crap and I couldn't, and that's also more boring. So now we'll get into what I think Arena is doing well, because that's everything that I would like for them to do better. So let's get into the things it's doing well. So the first thing that I think they're doing well is there's a decent amount of cool synergies and fun combinations of things that could happen. I just wish they would scale back the game determining, like, discover impact. But the synergies in the deck, the possible deck items that you can draft is pretty good. The games, you know, when nothing too crazy happens, usually are pretty fun. And the fact that they care and they're coming out with 2 different modes, one for like try hard, I don't know, let's say skilled gamers like myself, and then like a more casual mode. I think all of that stuff is good, and the fact that they do say they care is good. So I have some optimism for the future, and like for years, Arena's just been kind of like the neglected stepchild of Hearthstone. So hopefully that's going to change, and that's part of the reason I had the idea to make this video. So the mode overall, based on like the past 3 or 4 months, currently probably like a 5. You know, it's about standard. It's still pretty good. It could definitely be better easily. But like they don't even have to do that much. Like, well, you know, those are my ideas. Tell me your ideas. What could make it better down below, or if you think I'm wrong. And you think it's perfect, also let me know. Just whatever your thoughts are about it, just let me know down in the comment section down below. But yeah, like this, it's not quite. And then the last meta I really enjoyed because it was more skill based. But the drawback to that is a lot of the decks, it's just like you only could use the poopy cards, and it was just like a lot. The drafting and the in-game experience was kind of just this. A value fest, and nothing too cool and synergistic happened in those games. So I want like a kind of merger of both, where your skill is rewarded, your drafts are interesting, your games feel different, but nothing feels too generic. Because the last meta I really enjoyed, but it was still a little bit overly generic with the interactions for drafting and in-game that were possible too. And then there's metas before that where it's just like completely RNG bonanza fiestas, and everything was just crazy all the time. So it was just like too much. So like at least they have a little bit better of a handle on that for this current meta, and hopefully these 2 different modes, and when they actually like do a deep dive and try to resolve Arena issues, they can get back to like some of the great arena products they had within the first 4 years of Hearthstone launch. And also, I guess I can say this with like a little bit of a grain of salt. I do have some nostalgic goggles for Hearthstone, probably. So, but I don't think that makes it completely untrue. But maybe I'm slightly nostalgia biased to the old one, just a little bit. Anyways, that's all my thoughts on this Honest Arena critique. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know again down below if you disagree or you agree or what you would like to see, and hopefully some of these thoughts are implemented and Arena gets better in the future and Hearthstone gets a little more popular like it was in the past. That's my purpose, and I do love Hearthstone. It's a love-hate relationship, but yeah, I enjoy doing this. So again, see you guys in the next one, and thank you for watching.